I don't know about you, but I was raised originally as a Christian. My family from my mother's side was pretty much Christian. My father's side, they were not really that serious. My mother, when I was young, was relatively Christian, so we were forced to pray. Like everybody else, when I would go visit my grandmother, she would always test how my prayers were going, because that was important for them. And at a certain point, my parents let me pray silent, inwardly, and I took the opportunity to not pray and just sit there and play. And my grandmother then always wanted us to pray out loud, and then I would have forgotten the words, and she would become very disappointed and angry, maybe even. And her whole family made her disappointed like that. So I think this video is dedicated to my grandmother, who was a very pious person. Not always for the right reason maybe, but she was a very pious person, and she dedicated her whole life to following her religion. And I made her very happy one day when I had a conversation just before she was dying about her faith and about her religion and our favorite citations from the Bible. And I still remembered all these things from the time that she made me read the Bible, and that made her very happy, because none of her family members was still a practicing Christian, and me, the least Christian of all of them, actually knew the Bible. So she was very happy with that. As a result, I inherited her Bibles. I haven't read in them, but I have them, and they make me think about her. If these kind of things interest you also, then follow this video, watch this video, and also join the channel. And maybe even you want to follow our Patreon to support the making of these kind of videos and other videos that have to do with spirituality, health, medicine, living long and happy lives, and general Taoist things, because I have become a Taoist a long time ago, when I was 24. So now I'm 61, that's a long time. In the meantime, I learned a lot, and I have gone up and down in my dedication, because I also wanted to be a scientist, and I thought religion and science cannot go together. But that's not true. So today, what we are going to do is we're going to talk about prayer. And we are going to talk specifically about prayer from the perspective of daily life. And in the daily life, there are things that we do also as Taoists to pray. And this is one that is being used in the Wudang Mountains. And I will explain that in the context of the alchemical training that you get as a child already at the moment when you become a Taoist, and that you put yourself into the right alchemical perspective as part of your becoming a good Taoist. So let's get on with this. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed, if you haven't signed up yet for the Patreon, anyway, thank you for watching, and watch it all the way to the end, because you might get some surprises. The Qi of the 5 stars, the Jing of the 6 spirits, the 3 pure heavenly mansions. The azure clouds are always full. The yellow father's pure child guards the center and loses nothing. For this video, I have opened up my altar to explain a little bit more about what this prayer is about. And we are going to go technically into the content of the text of the prayer. And at the moment, when you start having a good understanding, you understand why this text actually is very important, because it is about the process of eating, digesting, and producing waste, as well as qi. So the first sentence, the Qi of the 5 stars. And let's start with the issues that are at hand in this sentence. First of all, the qi. The qi is something that people usually translate as energy, and I have to say it many times, but in reality, in Chinese culture, qi and energy actually do not really match very well. There are words which can be translated as energy, but the concept of qi is not the most likely candidate for that. And that's a little bit of a pity that Westerners have misunderstood and misconstrued this so much, because out of politeness, Chinese culture has adapted to it. So now they translate qi as energy, and as a result of that, they actually help falsifying the meanings of the word. And this is something that I really have to address every time again, especially when I see new students, because everybody is so much full of this concept of energy, which is created by hippies when they were on LSD, and sociologists used it to create a sort of scientific-like concept for crowd control, which was based on concepts that also Christian religion started creating out of the attempt to be more up to date with developments in science, with learning about magnetism, electricity, and so on and so forth. And that started with the concept of élan vital and animal magnetism and so on. And it started developing further and further. And the LSD hippies, they really got into that, and they created a sort of popularity wave, on which the New Age movement is also riding. That doesn't mean that the experience of energy is invalid. I don't want to say that, because that is not necessarily the case. This is the way how people usually experience life when they are trained to do so. So you have to understand that a word like energy is a cultural concept, and it is specifically Western. It has nothing to do with other cultures, say. And with people from different cultures that I talked with, they all understand, when they're a little bit informed about their own culture, that the word of energy doesn't have anything to do with their language. Nonetheless, skipping the whole discussion of this, what is Qi then, right? And Qi is, within Taoism, an aspect on which the whole idea of medicine is being based. Jing, Qi, and Shen. These three concepts, they are the root of their ideas about health and development, and also the development of immortality. So at the moment when you are eating, you are trying to invite particular kind of qualities. And these qualities, they have to do with, well, we talk about Wu Xing later. At the moment when we are talking about the Jing of the six spirits, we talk about a particular kind of functionality. Everybody in Chinese culture, in Taoism and so on, they are aware of the fact that the body is built from the way how it is being held together, how it works, and how we are aware of it. So these three things, they are basically the essence of Jing, Qi, and Shen. I know Jing is very often translated as essence, and it is true, Jing is essential, but it is a reference towards Jing, not Jing itself. Jing as a whole is seen more as a clarity that you create inside your body. Not necessarily that Jing means clarity, but Jing is more like a clarity as an essential substance in your body, which is difficult to translate properly in a Western language. But at the moment when you look at that concept, you have a division in Yin Jing and Yang Jing. And Yin Jing is the physical matter of our body, and the Yang Jing is the activity of holding the body together. So as such, then the essential part is that you have a body and that you keep your body properly together. At the moment, when you do not properly activate the body to maximize its potential, then at that moment your body is a little bit like a bag of potatoes. It sits on the couch and it watches TV. Or it sits behind a computer and does do administration. Nothing to say that that is not important, but it is not necessarily the best way to live your life, to have a healthy life. And everybody knows that. So that is just an open door that I try to crack. At the moment when we talk about Shen, the other concept, we can say that Shen is the awareness of how you keep your body open. So within a Taoist concept, within a Taoist text, you can say you have only one task in life, that is namely to stay alive, and to stay alive as good as possible. So not on a thread, but that you have to flourish when you are in your life. And at the moment when you do that, then you can say you can develop a Qi, and that is when you do it good. And it means that Qi is the sign of the fact that you're doing really good, and you have developed Kung Fu, so to say. So then the Qi is a sign of the perfection of that quality. That doesn't mean that it radiates light in all directions, but it means that the Qi is the sign that things work very good. And at the moment when you do, for instance, Tai Chi, Tai Chi Chuan, you are making a move, and your moves, they are clearly representing the action that you do, then at that moment you can say that movement has Qi. At the moment when your heart beats in your chest because of kindness, then at that moment when that kindness is really noticed by other people, then at that moment you have a Qi in your heart. At the moment when your stomach is digesting properly and your intestines are processing the food in such a way that you have produced little food and that you have a lot of vitality and that your blood is rich, and at that moment you can say your stomach has Qi and your intestines have Qi. So this is part of what we mean when we talk about Qi. So it is a particular kind of well done activity. So when we look at it, it means that then that Jing, Qi and Shen, And the meaning of life is to have a body, to keep the body open, to make it work properly, and at the moment when it works properly, also be aware of how it works, because that means you can fine-tune everything. And at the moment when you fine-tune your body, it actually starts becoming better and better. If you think, if I just think about myself, when I was, say, 22, 23, 24, I stopped taking drugs and alcohol, which I did in relatively copious amounts, which made me look like 50, 55, older than now maybe. And at the moment when I was doing that, I was also very thin. I was 49 kilos, so it was not the most healthy circumstances. Over time, because of my training, gradually I recovered, I restored myself, and have become sort of a reasonable resemblance of a human being, although I am not what I could have been if I would have just lived my life in the way how it was meant to be from childhood onward. So that is a lack that you will have to live with the rest of your life if you have a period where you have not been very healthy. If you are now living not in a very healthy way, then the Qi of the 5 stars and the whole prayer actually is something very meaningful for you and can help you to understand, to improve the nature of your life. So the Qi of the 5 stars we talk about, these are the 5 stars of the 5 different planets. And these are the planets. And these planets, they represent the Wu Xing. And originally in the ancient times, the Wu Xing were derived from what is called the 5 planets. So the Qi of the 5 planets is actually where the Wu Xing comes from. And the Wu Xing planets, they were moving stars going through the sky in irregular ways. And as a result of that, they determined to a large degree our faith, but also our physical functioning. So our destiny, our faith, and our physical functioning, these are also a couple of factors that are intertwined with each other. And at the moment when you are born in a particular kind of time stamp, and that time stamp actually is unique specifically for you. And in the moment that you are developing yourself, all the circumstances that you get into in your life, these are unique. And you can control a lot of the things that happen to you by proper eating, proper exercising, and proper breathing. These 3 things, for which I have developed a special program to help you recover from abuse over time, this is a very important part. So these 5 stars, they are these 5 Xing. And these 5 Xing, Xing actually, but the 5 Xing is then in fact the way how the things communicate with each other. And that means communication, in that sense, is the way how things consume each other. Because everything has a particular kind of nature of dealing with other things. They consume something and they poop something. And this is basically the meaning of Wu Xing. All these kind of things, they are very important. So just think about that, the Qi of the 5 stars. This is the first thing that is important. We already talked about the Jing, and we are going to talk in the second sentence about the Jing of the 6 ghosts and the Jing of the 6 spirits. The 6 ghosts are the spirits of the 5 yang organs in the body, which are the carriers of the digestive fluids and substances. So at the moment when you talk about the Jing of the 6 ghosts, is that how the muscles of the 6 yang organs keep themselves together. So that's a very important part in relationship to diet, because your food is coming in, and if you eat irritants like paprika or tomatoes or peppers or oranges or all kind of other things, lemons, garlic, onions, all these kind of very intense spicy things, which we can call herbal medicines at a certain point, you know that these kind of things are only for emergencies. So at the moment when you eat very strong foods, this is only to be eaten at the moment when you need particular kind of medication, which is specialized because of a certain kind of need. In general, food has to be relatively bland so that the food can be absorbed properly, and that the taste of things have to be relatively bland so that the qi of the food and the jing of the food can be absorbed in your stomach, and as a result that can contribute to your quality. If you mask your food with strong herbs, that means that at that moment, because of the strong herbs, you actually cannot take the jing and the qi of the food to you, and as a result of that, the food actually is maybe tasteful, but the only thing that you get is the strong quality of the substance that you make the taste with. So strong taste, no way in Chinese medicine and in Chinese food medicine. soft taste, natural taste is basically what food should all be about. And as a result of that, it is much better. And then you don't have to think about calories and all these kind of things. Food has its own quality, and these qualities, they can be learned. Now, so in these 3 apps that I mentioned before, the food app actually teaches you about this. And you can see how important that is from the prayer that Taoists actually do every time when they go to eat, before and after. When we talk about the 3 pure heavenly mansions, at that moment we talk about the 3 Dan in the body. The 3 Dan are in the belly, in the heart area, and in the head, and they are explained in different texts on different kind of ways, but in essence within the 3 bodies in the body, the 3 Dan by nature are the homes of what is called the 3 worms, or the 3 evils. And these 3 evils, they live inside you. They are bad spirits, and what they try to do is they eat at your expenses by giving you immoral thoughts, by making you unfriendly to people or to animals or to nature as a whole, by buying things following your desire and not thinking about the consequences of these things, like when you buy a car or when you go flying, which everybody does. So it's not like it is a blame, but that is how our society functions. A lot of the things that we do, they're actually being developed under the auspices of the 3 worms. And this is actually what I want to say with that. So the other one is then to feed you with bad information, like for instance looking at violent movies, looking at porn, looking at things that are not yours. All these kind of things, they are related to the 3 worms, and they are trying to destroy you and to make you sick and to make you suffer. So for Taoism, that is very important. And the 3 heavenly palaces, these are the palaces where the 3 pure ones should live. So by right living and right eating, you can help to starve these animals, these monsters. And you do this mainly by eating very little. So at the moment when you are quickly satisfied with your food, they don't have opportunity to feed on your different forms of gluttony. That is also for the way how you digest watching things on your phone or on YouTube or on your TV or computer or whatever kind of things. At the moment when you are doing these things in excess, they are basically trying to help you destroy yourself by feeding you with false information. And we know, of course, from the internet, there's so much false information going on. It is amazing that people do not look through that. You see famous people saying all kind of things that they never said, and with a little bit of sharp eye you can see how you're being duped all the time and made to believe all kind of things that are wrong. And usually the kind of thoughts that are being given are offered by criminal organizations, by fascistic political groups, or by drug dealers that are having a say in the media, and so on and so on. So you can just think about all these kind of crime organizations that want to control you through big money. When we talk about the azure clouds are always full. In this prayer, we talk basically about the accumulation of yang. And the yang is the pure quality of heaven inside you. So at the moment when we talk about the azure clouds are always full, that means that because of the way how we live, the way how we eat, we actually replenish the yang inside our body, and that is what keeps us young and lively and keeps us dedicated to what we are doing. And at the moment when we follow these kind of things, we actually start understanding that a lot of the things that we do actually reduce our yang. If you are tired every evening at the end of your day, that means that your yang is weak, and that is a result of doing things which are bad for your health. At the moment when you feel depressed, or you feel psychotic, or you feel any kind of negative feeling that is going to help you get upset one way or the other, then that is the sign of the fact that your yang is basically failing. And your food, of course, is an important aspect, because we continuously, through our breathing and through our eating, we replenish that what was given to us by nature, the yuan qi. Going back to the qi again, The qi in that sense is your potential, and your potential is perfect. It is just you who are not perfect. And the whole point of the Chinese medicine category is to help you to become more perfect. If an acupuncturist tells you, oh yeah, you have to eat better, you have to eat more carrots, or you have to eat more broccoli, or you have to eat more kale, all these kind of things, they are just utter nonsense, because you have to motivate yourself, you have to cultivate yourself to eat the right thing for you. Every person is unique, so your diet is also unique, and it doesn't mean that you have to eat expensive foods or anything like that, because cheap foods very often are of a better quality than the snack bar food that you can buy at expensive hotels or restaurants. Oh yeah, nice taste, bad health. The last part of the prayer is the yellow father's pure child guards the center and loses nothing. The yellow father's pure child that is guarding so that nothing gets lost. And at the moment, when you look at the yellow father, that is the king, the god of the stomach, the yellow cord. And at the moment, when that father is doing its job properly, that means that, everything feels good. That's the earth aspect of you. That is the accumulative part that actually motivates water to circulate, wood to grow, and fire to consume the wood so that the earth can be replenished. That is our continuous process in life in general. Our intellectual development, that's the mental aspect. That is something that we have to do, and we have to become skillful. We have to have means, and we have to develop an understanding to be able to get to the point where the ore can be processed by means of the use of all the other things to create the kind of mirrors that is necessary to produce water, condensed water from the air. Just like the Dumai Renmai circulation in our body, the Dumai has water steam coming up from the hidden fire in the Mingmen, and the steam is going to your crown and condenses and comes back as saliva, fills up the Renmai, and the Renmai connects at the bottom of your body so that the water actually flows up to Mingmen, and because of the heating of the Dantian, because of the heating of the Mingmen, actually the steam is being produced, and therefore you get a circulation which percolates through your body and makes the body warm, active, and without any tiring. So then the pure child of this yellow father, the yellow king inside the yellow court, this actually is your self-created self. There is in Chinese culture no such thing as a soul. No, they have all kind of words that are being confused for a soul, but there is not really a soul. There is something that you can create which can function in a similar kind of fashion as the soul in the West, but it is not going back to God or Brahman Atman or anything like that. It is something that is going to go back into nature, but it also keeps a particular kind of identity, and it can also reincarnate consciously into a next life if you want. But it takes effort. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen without a cost. So that means that to be able to reincarnate consciously or to become part of nature or an enlightened being, you have to exercise, you have to cultivate, and so on and so forth. So this spiritual child, this embryonic child that you create inside yourself in the lower Dantian in the first instance, that is actually the effort of your self-cultivation, and your food plays a role in that process. So there's no such thing as Tai Chi Chuan, which is just Tai Chi Chuan. It's also Tai Chi Chuan and food, Tai Chi Chuan and breathing. There is no such thing as Qigong without also paying attention to your diet. And that is not the kind of diet that you read in popular magazines or on the internet in general. You really need to study for that, and it takes some time. And that is the foundation at the same time, what you have to study for that, what is also the foundation of Chinese herbal medicine. So there's no such thing as herbal medicine without this foundation. The second foundation is the communication with nature. For this you have to do link body practice, for which around Christmas there will be another workshop. So you can already start signing up for this if you want to. In Facebook there is a group for link body practice, and you can sign up for that there in that group so that you can get warned when I start announcing this. It's a free workshop, by the way, so don't worry, you can partake for free. It doesn't cost you any money. I like to do things for free as much as possible because that is actually the purpose of Taoism. They shouldn't charge you much. They should charge you just enough that they can keep on staying alive, but not so much that they have a profit from it. So Taoists are non-profit, period. And if something is expensive from a Taoist, that means they're a business, they're not a Taoist. That's basically it. So with your food, it's the same. Blandness, simplicity, not expensive, qualitative, natural. That's basically it. So this was the prayer, and I hope that actually really helped you. If you really like it and you've been looking to the end, then make a remark on the bottom that you say, I managed, because a lot of people, they don't watch to the end. And if you watch all the way to the end, then maybe you like me enough to watch other movies, but also to sponsor my videos on Patreon. That would be really nice. If you would like to sign up for the course, the link is on the bottom. This is not a promotion for the course. This is just information to help you forward with your teaching. Maybe you want to go do Taoist prayer because maybe you have done Wudang Tai Chi Chuan, or maybe you have been in Qingquanshan and you have studied some Taoism there. Maybe you have been in Beijing, Baiyangguan, or any other place, and you have picked up some things and you would like to have a more Taoist lifestyle. You're always welcome to ask for more, of course. I can just give you information every now and then. If you chat with me, I will do my best to chat back with you. Whenever I have time, I'm open to any kind of discussion about all kind of things. So, my altar, maybe you want to know about that. This is basically the core of my daily practice. And there is Zhang Shengfen, the god of the Xuanwu Pai, and there is Zhenwu, the god of Shantian Taoism, which is at the core of everything that I do, and also a lot of the translation work that I'm doing about Taoism. On the top there is the three pure ones. A large part of the meditation and ritual is internalized, so what you see on an altar is just the tip of the iceberg. It takes some while to learn how to be a good Taoist and to have your own personal practice, because that's what it's all about. It's personal practice, and you just have to have a gateway to enter into it, especially in your own language. So that's also why I started my translation program, to help you understand language. If you go to the Patreon, you will find a page with the Zhenwu prayer that you see there in the orange book. This is a prayer that Taoists do on a frequent basis because of the Zhenwu meditation. Basically in the development, you see how much of the Taoist altar is not in the altar itself, but actually is in the textbook. And if you do it in Chinese, that's great, but likely you only have a vague idea about what you're doing. You have to do it in your own language. Otherwise, it's just stupid. It's not a Catholic church where everything is still done in Latin. It is so incredibly 16th century to do everything in a foreign language. Do everything in your own language.